Collar.
Oh, here we go. Welcome to Open Collar, the only show where we're so dedicated to pulp culture that even me losing my voice won't stop Steve's passion from making the Avengers assemble.
Yes.
I am Cory Moll. This is Steve McCoy. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for putting up with whatever this is going on here.
How you doing, buddy?
I am great. I sound worse than I am.
It is that season, though, right? You're starting to.
Yeah. And I think I said to you after we recorded last week that my little one was sick, that by this time next week I would be.
Yep.
So
here we are.
Yes, here we are. But
yeah, we had my youngest one came into our bed on Thursday or Friday, and I didn't have to get up right away. So, welcomed him in, snuggled with him, got right in his face, and he coughed in my face. And I was like, oh, that's
perfect.
Awesome. And then Jade was like, yeah, I think he's coming down with something. I was like, oh, amazing. Because I'm a bit of a germaphobe. And, yeah. So I was like, well, this is parenthood. This is what it's going to be like. So
always, I think probably get the elephant out of the room. Cue the music. Astros lost. They're out.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Is that Hulk music?
Yeah. I walked away from the TV like David Banner walked away from the town he just left. It's funny how they David Banner, not Bruce Banner, but yeah, it was. They couldn't win at home. They lost 22 of their last 29 home games, including the postseason, and generally, your home crowd is gives you that bit of an advantage. But I don't know what it was. Anyone that says that they're still cheating by banging on garbage bins at home is that's debunked given how crap they played. But on to next year, I guess. They're still a dynasty in my mind. I mean, they've had some great success for better part of a decade after that 2017 scandal. So they've earned, at least in my books, the right to be called a dynasty. And they're still going to be in it next year. I think they just ran into a very streaky team and a very streaky hitter, Adolis Garcia. And it is what it is. So, but I've got Arizona Wildcats. So it's the closest thing I can get to the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are in the World Series, who I will cheer for. And they should have won game one. They won last night, game two. So it's tied 1-1 going back to Arizona.
This matchup, the Rangers and Diamondbacks, is this like, not to say like the who gives a shit matchup of it, but it's one of the, it is actually the who gives a shit matchup. It's like like the Devils and somebody a couple years ago, or Carolina and hockey, where it's just like it's two markets that no one really gives a crap about, and no one's gonna watch it.
Like
no one to get behind.
Who did St. Louis play against when they won in 2019?
Bruins.
Okay, so maybe the Bruins might draw something, but
I guess last year Vegas, right? Vegas and whoever they beat, that I can't remember, Hurricanes or something.
Was it the Hurricanes?
Shows how much I pay attention.
Yeah, honestly, or was it Florida? No, I think it was Florida.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you go. That's perfect. I mean, Vegas and Florida, but I've got the Outdoor Classic streaming beside me. 20 years ago, my brother and I were at that game 20 years ago in Edmonton, and all I remember was how flipping cold it was. And we had dressed properly from, I would say, ankle to head, because we didn't really think about our feet. And once our feet got cold, it kind of just went up the body, and we made it. I'd say to about halfway through the third, and we were like, we can't continue. We have to leave. And it was cold, but
that's fun. What I was saying. Like, Parker had his hockey Saturday morning, and nothing like leaving the house at 20 degrees, standing inside a rink, and then exiting out just completely frozen, and you again cannot get rid of at 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. It's gonna get cold this week though for Halloween, that's for sure.
Yeah, I got my Halloween.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Is that an open collar Halloween edition hat or just a Halloween edition hat?
It's a Pumpkins After Dark hat.
That's wicked. Oh, I've seen that on Facebook. What is it? Where it's obviously in the west end of town?
Yeah, it's at Wesley Clover Parks. So where they do the lights, the magic of lights.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So you just walk and see all these pumpkins.
Oh, you don't drive, you walk through it.
You walk through it, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And look at different setups. Like they have different themes, like dinosaurs in one part, some like movies, and other ones like horror movies, like one section kids movies, various other things. The kids had fun. That's
how long were you there for?
45.
Okay. Was it 45 minutes that you stretched out to 45 minutes or 45 minutes that you found could have actually been longer?
Stretched out because we wanted to hang back from crowds so we can take pictures and stuff.
Okay.
So like we'd walk and then we get to a point, if there's a lot of people, we would just hang back, give some space, and then take time to look at stuff.
Is it as busy as the Magic of Lights?
Not when we went. No. Magically, Christmas is always good.
You know what? Like whoever owns that Wesley Clover Park is pretty smart because they seem to have something going on all year long. Like, isn't it a campground as well during the summer, like a proper trailer park? So they've got that for the summer months, and then they've got the Magic of Lights during Christmas, which is pretty awesome. It's a bit chaotic, but it's awesome. And then what is it? What'd you say it was? The Pumpkins
After Dark.
Pumpkins After Dark.
Dinosaurs thing in the summer too.
What? Oh, what's that?
The dinosaurs. I can't remember what it's called now.
Oh, right.
New thing.
Yeah.
I won't be smirching here, but I have some comments about that dinosaur one.
We'll have to revisit this then when it's actually happening again next year. And you can bitch about it.
Yeah, when people have the ability to pay their 2 bits to go see it, I'll tell them don't, or maybe do.
Hold on to your money, don't spend it. There.
Yeah, fuck.
We are streaming live on YouTube as well.
Oh yeah,
but YouTube. The people that are listening, our audio listeners, will have not had the chance to see this live. They can watch the recorded version. It's kind of that timing. We're messing up with time when we say you can go and watch us on YouTube right now live, but not for the audio listeners because that's not live.
Yeah, so this is pre-Halloween, but when this comes out on Tuesday, it'll be Halloween. So happy Halloween in the future, or is it the present? It's like a paradox.
What is time?
It's relative. I know that. That's all I know.
That's it?
That's all I got on time.
That's it. I got nothing else.
That and the line from Endgame of no amount of money ever bought a second of time. That's like my mantra now.
That's pretty smart. When you think
Tony Stark said it, so it has to be. Actually, no. Howard Stark said it to young Tony. And Tony took back. Yeah, it's a Stark saying. No pun intended.
Wait, was that then Stan the Man was driving by in a muscle car, right? Was that when was that? 2018?
Yep.
So yeah, he passed away that year. Oh shit.
Again, time flies.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a little bit of some news. Start with it's going to be a theme that we're going to have here, and I'm going to start with some musical. This happened. And if you don't know, I'm going to say it, but you will know. This famous, this theme song. It's just So it's people already know if you're picturing out if they're watching, but if they're listening, I'm sure they know too. But the famous the song of 1973.
73, wow.
Oh, sorry. 73 was the series. 71 was the movie. So even longer. It's Shaft. Everybody knows Shaft.
Yeah.
So, look here, a lot of playing until we get to the good stuff. So, Richard Roundtree, who famously played Shaft, passed away on October 24th. He was 81.
Wow.
And he was 28 years old when he first started his Shaft.
I've never seen it in its entirety. I've seen bits and parts of it, but I've never seen it from start to end.
Does that look like a man who is 28 or older?
Oh, older. Older, for
there
sure.
The 70s, 80s, like, age hit you harder.
Yeah. You almost were cooler in the eyes of others if you looked older and more mature.
Yeah. Like, the thing about, like, I think for 81, the picture that he's paired with here, look, he looks better.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when I downloaded this that this is such a long intro.
the murder mix. Don't worry, it kicks in at 6 minutes.
I haven't heard Isaac yet.
Yeah, it's all right. We're trying stuff new. We're trying
but
some new things with Open Collar. But I had never seen this movie all the way through, as I said, and I didn't even see the remake. Was that Samuel L. Jackson
Fury himself? Yeah.
In the early 2000s, or was that in the 90s?
It was the year 2000s. Yeah, on the nose. Yeah, and then they did a sequel to Shaft, the remake called Shaft, and it was Richard Roundtree, Samuel L. Jackson, and then I think Brandon T. Jackson played as like the grandson. So Sam Jackson, cool. Shaft's son.
Yeah. So was he a cop?
Yeah, man, he was a detective.
The detective. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we have a clip of the man at work.
Chef. Got no use for no dirty postcards, Vic. Get off my back, huh?
I just want to talk to you. Call me up. You know my number. Come on now, I'll buy you a cup of coffee, huh? You want to sit in the park a minute?
Hell no. Just tell me what you got to say right here.
Tom, why don't you go get us a couple of cigars? What kind you smoke, Chef?
Just say what you got to say, Vic, huh?
Get us a couple of El Garcios, huh, Tom?
Oh, the 70s. Hard-nosed cops on the streets.
Shaft ain't got no time for you. Shit.
No.
He was like this close to talking in third person.
Which, right there, like, that's what you do. You're like that type of character, right? You got to talk in third person. So
he started the whole third person. You know, it was cool to talk in third person for a while. I know in the early 80s and during the 80s, it was Ricky Henderson, famously played for the Athletics, stole 1,000,001 bases. Ricky ain't got no time for that. Ricky too busy stealing bases.
The other thing too I was going to say is I think too with Shaft, kind of like, you know, just like the gravitas of the character, you know, kind of like, you know, the head turn, like, you know, it's like a Shaft, like, you know, and you end up seeing that later on with like the John Wick series. Like when you hear John Wick's name, you're like, oh fuck, not John Wick, like it's fucking Shaft.
Yeah.
But he also he did a lot of other stuff. Like he had major roles in TV series like Generations, 413 Hope Street, Alias. He's on Desperate Housewives, and other series throughout his career. So he's worked on top of.
Yeah, he's just famously known for Shaft, but has obviously done a bunch of other stuff. Good for him. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Keep the theme going. Another famous theme song.
Yep.
So, Richard Moll.
Damn.
Night Court, eh?
All 6'7" of them.
He's also 80 years old. Like 80. Another long life.
Oh my god. Again, like the theme is what is time. 80 years old. Like I remember this when this was what, like mid to late 80s, wasn't it? Like not early 80s.
famously played Bull on Night Court. Fucking great theme song. Like, come on.
Yeah.
For a TV show like this.
Did you ever watch the remake?
No, I couldn't. It's not the same. Like,
no,
Harry Anderson's not there. Like, you can't watch it. You know, Marky Post isn't there. Like, it's just John Larroquette is the only one that hung around.
And if I remember correctly, like Larroquette's character in the original was a bit more crass than what social norms would allow for today. So it made me wonder how his character, how it worked with the updated show. I don't even think it lasted more than a season.
No, actually, it got a second season. I don't think it's coming out anytime soon because, you know, writer's strike and now the actor's strike.
Ooh.
Yeah. But if you don't know him from there, we also have him in our wheelhouse as well. Here's a clip. He was the voice of one Harvey Dent on the Batman animated series.
Get the fuck out, really?
No, Two-Face, don't! You can't let him!
Harvey, what are you doing?
Taking control of my life. Let the law handle it.
Really?
Wow. Here's the only law. The law of averages. The great equalizer.
Of course, a box full of coins.
Of course.
That's how you beat him.
My coin. What is it? I can't decide without.
Just like in Batman Forever.
So he must have traveled the con circuit, I would imagine. I didn't know that he played the voice. Was that for every season of TAS?
Yeah, I don't think
the animated series for those not in the know.
Batman TAS. Yeah, no, he was. Excuse me, he was our Two-Face. Not in the video games. I don't think they brought him back for that, but he was. He was on the animated series for sure. So him and Kevin Conroy and Brandon Sorkin, like fucking, they're almost all gone now.
Oh, that's right. Like in the last, Kevin Conroy was what, last year or 2 years ago, and then Harley's was like a month or two ago. Oh wow, yeah. Makes the reboot a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, we are. We're getting old.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And of course,
I mean,
one that came last night.
Yeah, damn.
Matthew Perry, 54.
54. Ottawa's own Matthew Perry.
It was around this time last year, I think he stopped by for a game.
Yeah.
When he's doing his promotional tour for his book, I think.
In his jacuzzi, drowned in his jacuzzi. I mean, as unfortunate and sad news that this is, something must be going on. Something must have happened. I have a jacuzzi, and you're very aware that you're in a jacuzzi, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Just the like the strain on the body, right? You know, after all these years of this and that, you know, something could have occurred, and that's just the end result.
Yeah, that's sad. I was flipping through the social medias today, and a clip came up where he was being interviewed by it was like Jimmy Fallon or one of the late night talk show hosts, and he was talking about how he got into a fight with our current prime minister in grade school.
That's what they said.
Perry was in grade 5. Trudeau was a couple of years younger. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is. We had a conversation last night about it, Jade and I, about, you know, it makes you, when you hear news like this, it makes you admire even more the careers of like the Tom Hanks of the world, where, you know, they've been married to the same person or together with the same person for decades, never had any real issues, no controversies, you know, and then it just like how easy, if you're not strong-willed or if you're not dedicated to the profession that you're in, you can really get pulled into the evils of Hollywood and, you know, completely have your career go sidetracked or, at least go sidetracked for a part of time, as was the case with Matthew Perry. But it's just, man, it's sad.
Just do one little classic clip. Legendary.
Oh my God! What? Are you all right? Yeah. What happened? Oh man, he promised he wouldn't take the chairs. What the hell happened? How are you locked in there? Where the hell's all of our stuff? Well, this guy came by to look at the unit, and he said he didn't think it was big enough to fit a grown man. So, you got in voluntarily? I was trying to make a sale. Oh, man, if I ever run into that guy again, you know what I'm gonna do? Bend over?
It's amazing, like, just one little, like, emphasis on a word here and there, like, just completely changes the dynamic of a line in that show with his delivery.
Yeah, he was the funniest aspect of that show for sure.
Yeah,
that being one of the shows that we stopped watching. I don't know why. I think we got all but 2 seasons left, but I remember every time we laughed, it was a majority. It was because of him.
Oh, of course,
Chandler being the Chans.
Yeah, the sarcastic wit, right? As it's come known to do. And like a friend and I were talking today, like it's amazing, like the majority of that cast, you can count on like both your hands the amount of movies that they did. Like I think we said, like there was a list that came up, like movies you forgot that Matthew Perry was in, and I think it capped at 6.
Yeah.
Like these guys, like they were huge for 10 years, but it never really translated for most of them outside of that. And I know for some people, a legacy like that is something that, consider like not like a burden, but just something like sitcom for some folks is like, the lesser. It's like you have, daytime soaps, sitcoms, TV dramas, and then movies, right? Yeah. So, and like, he said in his book that he wanted to be remembered for helping people, and then Friends be second. And unfortunately, with his recovery and his book just coming out last year, didn't really have the time to work on that. But hopefully, you remember everything but the addictions.
Yeah. I found out today too, just through because it was all over social media that
all over.
Keith Morrison is his stepdad. Dateline's Keith Morrison is his stepdad.
Yeah.
Crazy. Small world.
Small world, time, all that fun stuff.
Is that it? Is there any more deaths that we got to talk about, or is that enough for episode?
Kinda.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
These movies consist of horror, so death.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I watched Saw 10.
Okay.
Because why not? So it's the 10th movie that takes place before. That's the thing I love about the Saw franchises is that you can progress in the number of entries, but you regress in timeline. So this is the 10th movie.
Selling me on it.
10th movie in the franchise, as it were, and yet it takes place like after the first one, but prior to the other one. So the main crux of the story is the main character, John Kramer, Jigsaw, as you learn in throughout the movies, that he has an inoperable brain tumor. That doesn't cause him to go kill people, but what happened in terms of his life prior to that, during, and subsequently after his diagnosis changes the man. So this is so he has the operable brain tumor. He decides that through like a support group of people who are terminally ill. He meets a guy who somehow has like a miracle cure. He's all better, but it's from an experimental procedure down in Mexico.
Of course,
it's already like
in the back of a van.
There you go. Yeah. Travels down there, meets with whoever. They promise him this cure. He has the surgery, told everything's fine, you're good to go. Turns out it's all a scam.
Oh, and he has pissed.
And he's already jigs at this point, so people know who he is.
Wait, people know who he is?
Yeah,
or
that's
the viewer knows who
we know who he is. No, they apparently know who he is too. What? Which is what makes things a little foggy for me.
Hold on. Explain this to me.
Yes.
How do people know that he's Jigsaw, but he's just willy-nilly going to AA or not AA?
That's the part that I didn't really grasp either. It's like, so you know who he is, you know what he does, but he's really like, he can get a fucking passport and fly out of the country. You know, he's lucrative. He's got money. Like, he's liquidated. He can do whatever he wants.
Really running out of ideas on this franchise.
The part
maybe you didn't see Saw 9.5. Maybe that's the one you're missing.
But for me, like, I've seen all the movies, and like unlike you, gore doesn't bother me. The story of the experimental surgery and him getting fucked over, I thought was more interesting than everything else that they did with it.
How much time of the movie was spent on that?
It's like one of the longest ones. It's almost 2 hours, but for like a minimum an hour, say an hour 10, it's that story, and that's the part I enjoy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So question.
To me, yes.
Is that image that you shared, the one with something going in their eyes, is that him having the procedure?
No, that is a trap that he envisions that doesn't act like, you see what happens, but it doesn't actually happen. It's an imaginative thing, which is a first for the series.
Okay.
Basically, it's compressed air that sucks
the eyeballs
like, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's like a pneumatic tube.
See, the people that come up with this shit are so fucked up.
Right?
Honestly, like, what's the wildest, craziest shit we can do? How about we use something that can suck the eyeballs out of your head? Like, So, do any of the previous 9 movies, do they all, and perhaps maybe not the first one, but from 2 to 9, do they all end in such a way where it leads into the possibility of the subsequent movie taking place? Like, does 2 lead into 3, 3 into 4, so on and so forth?
No, they kind of, they're essentially self-contained.
Okay.
But everything's always open-ended because it just like at the end of, like, you'll I know you're never going to watch these.
No.
You
know what? I might.
At the end of the third one, he dies. But there is, again, still 7 other entries. So there you go.
But that's when they start messing around with time. I think this is a theme.
Yeah, like 4 takes place at the exact same time as 3.
Okay.
Most of Tobin Bell's scenes, who plays Jigsaw for those uninitiated, throughout the rest of the series are all flashbacks. So, like, how he's connected to this person, how he's connected to that person, what occurred with this character and him at this time, how he came about knowing this person, like all those accomplishments, things like that, which doesn't really play too much into this. It does a little bit, but not too much in the 10th volume.
Yeah, because I would imagine, like, is not the first one they get trapped? Carrie Elwes is in it, and don't they get trapped in like a factory or a building that they need to get out of? And so you can only use that trope so many times before you need to think outside the box and be like,
this is clearly somebody who has not seen that movie, because that set is used a lot throughout the 10 movies, more than you think.
So what's your what are the odds on there being a Saw 11?
Oh, it'll happen. Like, again, like a character died in the 3rd movie, they did 7 other sequels. Like, come on.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're cheap.
I'd be curious to know what the box office numbers are on these, because you know what? Yeah, it's obviously successful enough, and if they release it around Halloween like they normally would, then you'll get those not necessarily committed to the series, but just that genre. Then
like the first movie made $103 million.
Which was what, like
2004.
4? I'm pretty good, man, for not seeing it.
You're nailing the timelines this time around. I'm trying to remember how much it cost. Like I know, like I said, they're insanely cheap. Yeah, so Saw 4 made 103 worldwide on $1 million budget. Huh. So you're looking at $102 million profit.
Which, after you put like marketing, I can't imagine there being much marketing involved because I don't really think there would be commercials.
Saw 2 made $147 million off a $4 million budget.
Okay.
The most expensive was the spin-off set in the same universe, which was Spiral, starring Chris Rock, came out in 2021. That was $20 million. That one only made $40 million worldwide.
Spiral with Chris Rock?
Yep, and Samuel Jackson.
Okay. That's just Chris Rock. I don't see as being someone believable in a horror movie. How are we going to get out of the building?
So, like the lowest
suck our eyeballs out.
The lowest grossing one to date of these movies was Saw 6 at only made $68 million worldwide on but still $11 million budget. In this last entry, $80 million on a $13 million budget. Overall, all these movies have made $1.09 billion and only spent $100 million across all the movies.
Does 10 look like a movie that was produced for only 13 million? I say only 13 million, but let's be honest, in Hollywood, that's a really low and tight budget.
Like you don't much, man. Like with these traps, they're all set in a warehouse, so you don't need to spend all that much. So like you can spend $100 million, or you can spend $5 million. You wouldn't know the difference.
That's smart.
Yeah. And next, keep it up. I watched The Exorcist Believer.
Well, I'm having nightmares tonight. My God. There should be like a disclaimer for that image that just put it up again.
It's black and white. Quentin got away with that in Kill Bill, right? That's not graphic. So this one, it's set in the same universe as the original Exorcist. It's a continuation of not necessarily Reagan's story, but all those characters and what occurred in that movie take place in this one. This is also directed by David Gordon Green, who redid the Halloween movies, the last trilogy.
Okay.
I will say this tries very hard to be like the OG Exorcist. It's a lot of world building and story building and slow paced until things start happening. And when things start to happen, it starts to lose its way.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually a really as someone who doesn't watch horror movies, so I can't really compare. But when you start to world build and take your time, and you spend more time with the person walking through the house as opposed to just getting to the point where they get killed in the house, is very much like they were back in the 70s. So to your point, like trying to be the original. And I think that's probably better for the genre. But then I guess to your point, like once it got to that point where they've established the world, then it all went to shit.
Yeah, like for me, if you want to establish a world that's new, but if you're establishing a world that what you're doing is you're taking this time then to connect it to something that you already know, is a little daunting in order to really grab people, because we're living in a world now where instant gratification is like, we know what's coming, let's get there, right?
Yeah, no patience.
There's no patience. But like the other thing I found with this is that it starts to establish something and then it jumps ahead in time. It doesn't really grasp what occurred between point A to point B until well later. You can kind of put the pieces together yourself. But the crux of the story is that it's unlike the first one. Like, this is how they get you. It's 2 girls possessed, not 1. More is better.
I think of like the spearmint gum ads with the twins, and it's like, but this is for horrors, like double the fun, double the mint,
double your pleasure, double your fun,
double the slash.
There's two friends that so one of the girls, her mom died in childbirth, and the Ouija boards, let's reach out to mom, and they reach out, and a demon responds and possesses both of them. And it's tied into the original because Ellen Burstyn is back. She played the mom in the original. Okay. She's now like someone who goes around and investigates possession. And like
the Angela Lansbury of the Exorcist world.
She doesn't necessarily perform the exorcisms, but she's got a hand in it. She knows some stuff. So they would go out to her and yada yada yada. Third act falls apart. So those were my 2.
Why does it fall apart though? I mean, don't stop there. Like you need. Like I'm never gonna.
Okay, so when they're doing the spoilers to those who will watch it, when they're performing the exorcism, basically the demon says through the girls, "You can only save one of us. You have to choose." And it's 2 sets of parents, right? So one's like, I'm not choosing like anyone. Like, and one dad wants to save his daughter, and they're like trying to tell him, like, no, like let's do this ritual or whatever. And then like, I guess the one dad is sort of, it's open to the idea that she might not be saved. So like he gives the daughter back the mom's scarf that he took from her because was trying to like move on from I guess her death, and then he was mad and all this stuff that she was doing all this stuff to reach out and everything. So he's like apologizes, and then the other dad decides, no, we're going to save my daughter. It says, I choose, like, save her, and in doing so, the demon keeps her soul and she dies, and the other one doesn't, all because he just said, okay, I guess, like, if this happens, it happens. And that's basically like, that's just like this. Like we watched a movie with like The Exorcist, and there was a ritual, and take the demon out. This was kind of like, you guys choose. Oh, you chose her. Okay, well, I'll keep this one, and then I'll fuck off. Like, I don't think that's really what demons do.
No,
I got 2. Which one do you want? Okay, I'm keeping this one. Peace out.
Do you watch these movies like with the lights off and?
No.
Or do you have the lights on when you're watching these?
I just watch them whenever I got time.
Does your better half like horror movies?
No. Like the last one I think we really watched was, I know she thought the Paranormal Activity movie was stupid, but the last like real, like, and again, I didn't find it all that scary, but the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay. From like several years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2003, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that long ago. Shit.
Was not, she thought that was scary and jumpy. Like, she watched the Saw movies and just finds them confusing.
Well, yeah, I mean, when the guy dies after the third movie. Was the original Exorcist based off of a true story, or like?
So, yeah, based on a book, and the book is inspired by a real-life exorcism, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, whether or not that's a true story is up to, I guess, your belief system. And
yeah, I won't ever watch or read anything that will confirm or not confirm the validity of those claims.
I find that stuff like I've seen like all the Conjurings and the Insidious movies. Like the Conjuring movies are like The Exorcist, are based on reported events. I won't say actual events because, again, that's all up to your interpretation. But I know Apple TV Plus, plug Apple TV Plus, has a docuseries coming out that's based on one of the cases that's in the Conjuring movies. It's about a haunting in the UK, And what this one is doing is it's like reenacting the recordings of the investigators did. It looks pretty interesting. I might check that out when it's all done.
I would watch that. Not like reenactments, but I would watch a documentary that showed the actual footage of, police interrogations or like, going through the house and stuff like that. Like I would watch that. But when it comes to like any form of acting about it, then you've lost me. But if it was like a true documentary where like they, went to the place, watch the footage, listen to the footage. Yeah, I would do that. Probably only lasted about 10 minutes.
Yeah, same here. I watched that stuff. I watched a documentary on Ronald DeFeo Jr., the one that killed his family in the Amityville house, and said the house made him do it before the Lutzes moved in. And then I always saw the original James Brolin. I was gonna say Josh Brolin. James Brolin, the original movie in the 70s, Amityville Horror.
James Brolin was in the original one?
Yeah, he played George Lutz. Yeah, the dad. So I remember watching that and being interested in the case, like, oh, the fuck, the house made him do it. And then watching this thing with Ronald DeFeo Jr. and then him basically saying it was all bullshit.
Just though, like on the surface, like the house made me do it. Like that's your defense.
Yeah, her voices from within the house told him to kill his family. I'm like, what?
There's no way. Shocktober,
the finale, as we
discussed. Finale, that's right.
Hodgepodge of different things we want to discuss. I think so. I'll open the floor with what scared you the most as a kid, and I do have an audio clue of mine. Wait for it. Every fucking time I heard this song as a kid, I was just weeping or just mortified.
Yeah, I still don't like it.
Because if you see this person who's still at large, he could be a neighbor of yours. Call the number on the screen and let us know. Unsolved mysteries. These are people who are never caught.
This is my number one fear as a child. Number one fear as a child.
It's terrifying.
There was nothing else.
Shout out Robert Stack, man.
Yeah. And did you know that, again, we both are in Ottawa, for our international viewers and listeners abroad, one of the episodes was about carp. There was like a UFO sighting in Carp, Ontario, which is literally like next door to where you are.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember seeing that episode or not, but yeah. And even just the way he spoke and the trench coat and like, I just remember, like, even if I was thinking about that song and not necessarily hearing it and I was in bed, I would put, you know how you are as kids, like you put the blanket over your
safe space.
That's like,
as soon as the blanket's over your head. Yeah.
It's like the Batman 89 shield over the Batmobile. Like you put that on, it's like you're good, you know? Yeah. No, that's up there. I do remember me, though,
but like nothing like fucking horror movies.
I remember when I was probably about 8, I slept with my door open and I thought there was what I saw, a man leaning against the wall with a hat like this, just basically, you know, shoulders against the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought he was staring at me, and I looked at this thing all night, didn't blink my eyes, didn't say anything because I thought if I moved or if he saw me move that he would come and get me.
Yeah.
And so as the sun was slowly starting to come up in the morning, again, didn't sleep a single wink that night. It was an ironing board with a hat that was just leaning on the top part of like the narrow part of the ironing board, just leaning there. And I was like, oh my God. To this day.
Felt like an idiot.
Never forget that. Felt like an idiot. That's right. Yeah. You, any other notable ones?
Well, like anybody, right? You know, just being at home by yourself, having to go from one end of the house to the other with the light off.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking booking it 50 kilometers an hour down the hallway, flicking the light switch.
Man, you'd be like Survivor Man. You know, Survivor Man in the show, like he would set up the camera, go walk, he'd come back, get the camera, you know, and it was just that whole thing because he was filming himself. That was like how we were with lights. You would turn on the light, walk over to where you're going, turn on the next light to come back, turn off the first light to walk up to the second light. So you're basically just going back and forth. So there was never a moment where it was pitch dark, pitch black.
Like one time I didn't like cats because you can see their eyes at night.
Mm-hmm. And they're just.
And then once you got in your head, like knowing that you have a cat and that's what you're seeing, but it's that split second.
Are there any cool haunted houses around your neck of the woods around Halloween?
No, not that I'm aware of.
No.
Like I always say, like I would do like one of those like haunted walks or whatever they're called.
Through the corn maze?
Children of the Corn, or make it
Children of the Corn, yeah.
Like they always say that there's a bunch of haunted places like that are like in the city, jails and all that stuff. I don't think I would do it just because I don't think necessarily that it would be worth it. I think it would be like a letdown. Like when you watch like Ghost Hunters, you know, and they're freaking out over like the littlest sound. Like there's a rustling in the bushes, and then like, oh shit, what is it? What is it? And the camera's trying to get on it.
We saw a flicker. Yeah. It was just your cameraman just checking his phone. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Mythbusters.
Good old Mythbusters. But I know there's some places where my in-laws are from that are, they said, are like notoriously haunted.
Do you believe it?
It's hard to say. Like there was things that happened when I was a kid. Now I always question if it would actually did happen or if it was just a manifestation in my head. Like I remember laying in my bed one night with my hand out, and like half asleep, and I swear to God, I felt, and there's nobody there. But did it happen, or was I like in and out? Right?
Yeah.
My sister told a story once of like my stepdad losing his shit on her and a friend who was staying over. For kept going into the kitchen and turning the light on and leaving it on, and he'd come out and turn it off, and then he'd go back to bed. And like an hour later, he's on again. He just gets up. She's like, "Stop going to the kitchen. Like, if you're going to go to the kitchen, turn it off before you go back." And then they said, "We never left the room."
Whoa! Wow!
Like that's the house I grew up in, and like between that and my hand slapping thing, nothing else ever occurred in like the entire time I lived there.
Those are two pretty like significant experiences, though. Like, it's not like you felt like a little breeze in the back of your neck. Like that was, you know. Well,
I could tell you one thing. I'm
fucking
sure
Patrick Swayze messing with
merely a coincidence, but I got home from school and I was sitting in our family room, just doing my homework or whatever. And my mom was in the kitchen. She's doing laundry, which is just off the kitchen, and she's also making dinner. So she puts whatever in the wash, starts it up. She walks away to go check on dinner on the stove, and by the time she reaches the stove, the top shelf comes crashing down in the laundry room, and skirting across the floor was and she has no idea how it even got there, was like the driver's license of my uncle. So she's like, "This is weird. I don't know why I would have this." So she puts it on like the hutch, whatever, continues on. A week later, the police come to the house and saying that he passed away. They've like found him wherever. And they did. The day he passed was the day that happened.
Fuck.
Now,
was this the same house with the?
Yeah, it was the same house.
Jesus
I guess there was 3
Christ,
instances.
Man.
But again, nothing before, nothing.
That's a haunted house, Cory.
Like it's an
you
old
lived
house.
In a haunted house. The sooner you come to realize that, then more things will start popping. Oh yeah, there was this one time that the fucking, I don't know what, the garage door opened on its own and Slimer was eating hot dogs upstairs in the main foyer.
Now, if that happened, like, I'd be cool with that.
That's some serious
And I always thought
shit.
my grandma's house was the same way, because like we'd often play in the basement and stuff, and there's radios and things, and sometimes at night I'd hear voices, and I'm pretty sure the radio was on the whole time coming from the basement. But then I'd go down there later that next day and there's no noise coming out. Now, could someone have turned the radio off because we left it on? Absolutely. But then I lived there for like a decade and nothing ever happened. So
yes, you lived in a haunted house. Yeah. Right. That's why. Okay. So now I understand your affinity towards horror movies. It's just when you were growing up, that was a Wednesday, right? Minus the killing, obviously, but all the other paranormal shit was like, well, we call that a Wednesday around here. And then I listen to podcasts every night that I sleep, and sometimes it'll just play whatever's queued up next. And there's a true crime podcast I listen to that's hosted by an Australian woman. I won't give free plugs. It's good. You'll find it. It's true. There's so many of them out there. Yeah. But sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night to her telling the story of how someone got gruesomely murdered, and then it starts to fuck with my dream, and I have to turn off the podcast, and keeps me up. And yeah. I mean, I don't know how you're just more how you weren't more numb to the Unsolved Mysteries theme, having experienced three. No, well, not you didn't experience the license plate one, but the others. I figure
with Unsolved Mysteries, it's people who are alive doing stuff. Killed this person and then took off, and could be anywhere. And I lived in a house with a second marriage, so that could have been my stepdad for all I knew.
Yeah. Robert Stack is basically he could be living next door. He could be on your street.
And I love Robert Stack. Airplane's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, right. He was. We need to do a movie review of Airplane or Naked Gun, because I don't know, something's in my algorithm where I'm seeing a lot of Leslie Nielsen videos pop up, and every single one has me in stitches.
What a gem he was too. So Halloween is today, if you're listening to this the audio version, or in 2 days if you're watching us. We're currently now on YouTube, youtube.com/Collar-ween. Favorite costumes as a kid? I don't have any. I remember costumes, but I don't have any fucking pictures.
No, I've got some pictures, but we grew up in an era where it was vinyl suits, a vinyl one piece of whatever the character was, and a plastic mask with a string, an elastic string. So we didn't have the greatest costumes. I remember when I was He-Man, so I basically had He-Man's outfit in a vinyl outfit in a vinyl onesie with the plastic. That's one that was memorable. I also went through a small period when the Habs won the Stanley Cup in 1993. I wanted to go as Patrick Waugh for Halloween, so I took my goalie gear and I put it on and walked around.
That's the easiest boy costume ever. I think we did that in I think 7th grade, when it was kind of we're not going to go out, but let's go out. Everyone's got jerseys, and we're hockey players.
That's what my oldest is going to do this year. Shout out to Oliver. She said, "Can you please mention my name at some point during the podcast?" So here you go. I'm mentioning Oliver. He is going as he's basically putting on his baseball
nice
outfit, and then just going out as a baseball player. So,
I don't work on Tuesday on Halloween, but there is a contest for Halloween costumes, and I don't partake in any of that stuff. But oh Jesus, I had an idea of just dressing normally, but buying a those dolls that those Robacks ads, those little wooden dolls. They have those at the dollar store, so it's a model, and I was just gonna hold it up as I'm the model employee.
Oh, but that's a dad joke mixed in with a Halloween costume.
Exactly. So you don't have to actually do anything.
That's amazing. We wanted to.
I should go to work that day just to do that and see how I place.
Several episodes ago, we were talking about Blockbuster Video.
Yep.
And so I told Jade that I wanted to go as Blockbuster employee, and Blockbuster employee. So khakis, the blue shirt.
Yep.
But I just didn't have time. So next year. That's what we're gonna go as, or at least I'm gonna push.
They have that
Jade to do
costume
that.
at Party City. Hashtag
Maybe I'll have to swing by tomorrow and have a look.
including like
what
the
about
fucking
you?
box of
What was what do you mean the box? What do you mean the box?
like the cassette, like the VHS box.
Get
What looks like the
out.
rental case.
That's worth the price by itself.
Yeah,
That's wicked.
See if the website has it.
What about you?
So the only two costumes that I have pictures of was a clown and a skeleton, which is like the just what I think every kid had at some point. But one I don't have any pictures of, but I remember fondly because what occurred was trying to wash the hair color out of my hair and the white makeup that I had on, but I was the Joker. So trying to get that fucking
That's cool.
spray, the green hair off.
Yeah.
So I just remember the sheer scrubbing and the pain of like mom trying to get this out of my hair because kids can't go to bed with all that stuff.
No, you're already hopped up on sugar.
Yeah, and I think I
remember
4 or 5.
I seem to remember there being like a Matt Tracker mask costume. Same thing, like just a vinyl onesie and then the plastic mask. And I feel like I went 1 year as that, but
there it is.
I can't remember. And I've got to
Blockbuster.
There's 5 in stock in Orleans, so I might have to ask Jade.
And the card. And let's go back, and there's the case.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm doing it for sure. So is this just the shirt, the case?
Yeah, those are your 2 options.
You're kind of left with khakis. I got khaki looking pants, I'm sure. Okay. I'm doing it.
Relive the glory days.
If I do end up getting it, I'll take a picture and I'll share it in next week's episode. I'll be the toast.
So, any traditions that you do on on All Hallows Eve? Just take the kids out.
You just take the kids out. One of the parents at the school mentioned that what she does, which we thought is an amazing idea, so we're going to do that this year, is she brings a wagon with her, because oftentimes, like if you use a pillowcase or whatever bag you're using, if you get pop cans as an example, like that weight will add up quickly.
We were just talking about that, Ashley and I, about the pop cans.
Yeah, and so I'm going to bring the wagon. I just have a feeling that my youngest will try and get in on the wagon as we're
of course
ending the night.
I don't want to walk anymore.
Which is fine. Like, but this cab ain't free. You got to pay your fare. So I'm going to charge him some candy. He doesn't know it yet, but he will.
I remember as a kid, like you have to be a certain age when the pop cans was like the best. Like that's what you're gunning for.
Oh, like RC Cola. Yeah, you get the RC Cola cans. And you'd be like,
yeah, you're never getting good shit. It's RC Cola, PC products.
That's right. But, and then you went to the house that was giving away apples and pencils. You're like, the fuck is this? Apples and pencils. You'd give me like a smelly flavored eraser. That was also my favorite candy of all time that we used to get were the BB Bats. They were like the toffee popsicles or like lollipops, and they were long and rectangular. And if I got one of those, I was a happy kid.
Were you a bag or pillowcase?
Pillowcase for sure. Tried to maximize like you see the kids that they have like the little like McDonald's is giving away, like these pumpkins or whatnot. Buckets. Like schmuck, you're not gonna get. That's like 3 houses worth. A bag of chips takes up half of that bucket.
So like we have the pumpkin buckets that we had for the kids is when they were little. They just started going door to door, I think last year. But we usually just drive around to family because just to visit and stuff. So and they get lots of shit from them, like just basically just nulls the reason for going out. But now that they're older, they want to.
You can just go to one house and just that's it.
Like they have bags done up for them. because we're traveling, right? So they're getting more than just candy. They're getting like fucking toys and
toys.
Well, a little small. Like it's also Halloween themed, like a little plush or whatever.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
But now they
that's
want
friggin' amazing. If you got like an action figure.
Now they want to go out. Now they want to hoof it around town.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't rain. There's actually, so we moved here in 2020, and so that first Halloween, it was a bit different. It was like right in the mix of the pandemic. Oliver unfortunately got sick, not with COVID, but just got sick, so he couldn't go around the street. So I took my youngest at the time, hit up every street on the house, and then the subsequent Halloweens we would go and on other streets with the boys' friends or whatnot. But I remember there being a house just down the street from us that where the parents, like they'd set up like 3 or 4 houses got together and they put all these long tables on one of the houses, and at the end of or on the tables they would have the candy, and then they would just be playing music, having drinks and whatnot. And it was, I want to say it was like a Friday or Saturday that this was going on, so that they were obviously having a good time while they were handing out candy. But I was like, I could get down, like I could do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Arlo, just go around the block, you know where I am. Just come back. You know? So
yeah, we had a neighbor who was very nice. He would set up the night before, and like the day of, he would just, as everything started, he would just hang outside. He'd always tell us to come by. He always have stuff for the kids.
Yeah.
But now they moved.
I might spike my coffee with the Baileys on Tuesday night.
You gotta stay warm.
That's it. You gotta stay warm.
Yeah. All right. So take a break and come back with some geek news.
Halloween's coming. What are you going to do about it? Whether you do a little or a lot, be an original this Halloween and find yourself at Hallmark.
Hallmark has a way. And at
Hallmark.
Where, like, what was that commercial trying to, like, were they selling cards in that commercial, or were they advertising costumes, or was it just, that's definitely a failed attempt of, we're going to expand the brand. Gather around board. We're going to.
I guess there was a time in the 80s and 90s where Hallmark was just like, you know what? We need to get out there.
Yeah. We see what they're doing around Halloween. They're not just buying cards. It's the one holiday they don't buy cards for. Let's sell costumes instead. It's true when you think about it. What other holiday?
Just Valentine's Day.
But cards are.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Valentine's Day, Christmas. I can't remember what else you'd go to Hallmark for. Because then, I guess, after the cards, they started getting into Christmas ornaments.
They do have some pretty awesome Christmas ornaments there.
But do you know where to find a Hallmark now? Like they used to be.
Yeah, there's actually one just down the street from us.
Well, then disregard what I just said.
Yeah, no, but that's the only one that I know of in at least the next, like a 20-kilometer radius. I don't know where any others are from or are located.
Yeah, there used to be 1, 2, at least 3 that I know of used to be around us. I don't know where they are.
You mean those $15 cards aren't keeping the lights on in more locations?
No, because you can get like $1.25 one at Dollarama.
Oh yeah. Why don't I do that? I never think about that.
The only issue with that is that they don't update their stock often. So there will be a time where you've gone through everything that they've had. That is my problem now.
But you know what? Thank God for ChatGPT. You can just put in, I want to say happy birthday
the picture's still the same.
You know, and this, I don't know. Jade always fucks me over. She always writes in the cards first and then always leaves me last. And then I'm stuck. I get writer's block when I write cards. I was like, what am I going to write? I basically just basically use her script and steal her message and just tweak it a little bit. She gets me. Yeah, like she never lets me write first in the card.
when you get handed a card at the office of someone's last day and you're like 15th in the line and everything's been said.
Yeah. Like, damn it. Why didn't I read my email sooner?
Yeah. On my desk, come swing by when you want to sign it.
Yeah. You're busy.
Oh, well. Geek News is here again. Another week. This time, it looks like we will be getting a fifth Thor, but not with Taka.
Not with who?
Taka Waititi.
Oh, thank God.
We're going in a new direction once again.
Perfect.
Apparently is now open to coming back if they can find something new to do, and looks like that's what they want to do.
Yeah, I feel like Hemsworth is married to this role and won't ever give it up.
So if you're going to keep him in like now a fifth go-around solo feature, is this not your leader of the Avengers going into the subsequent future, or are you going to go somebody else and he's just along for the ride?
I think what they should do is they should incorporate Donald Blake in the fifth movie in some capacity, and then let that determine whether you're going to go and stay with Thor or Donald as the leader. If there's a 6 or beyond,
instead of like just a throwaway line or throwaway name tag or something for like in the first one.
But I never really read Thor. I read Jason Aaron's run, but I never really read Walt Simonson's run. So I don't know what storylines are left out there that are significant to that character. I don't know. I don't know what, unless they come up with their own and they get and they go back to the way it was when Kenneth Branagh directed the first one, more fantastical, more Shakespearean, more about the 9 realms, and yeah. But hey, listen, if Taka's not coming back, then I think that's already starting off with good news for the series.
Which makes the question, you're gonna have to go more serious, I guess, is the way to go, because you can't, like, you struck iron with Ragnarok, right? Shifting comedic, and then you went too hard.
Yeah.
So you try to find that sweet spot again, or you dial it back even further.
There's nothing wrong with going back to the way it was, but then as I'm saying that out loud, the first couple of Thors, well, definitely Dark World, they just weren't that popular. Like they were, and probably still are, considered some of the worst Marvel movies out of the close to 30 that exist. And then it was only like Ragnarok that is considered one of the better ones. And Love and Thunder, God, if you say it's a great one, then you got bigger issues than just.
I don't think there's a very big.
Yeah, there's someone out there that says it's their favorite movie. It's the horse shit.
The diehards.
Literally Asgardian horse shit. But I get the feeling that Hemsworth won't ever give up this role until he absolutely is, until it's taken away from him. He's not that old, too. I mean, he's probably got another few in him.
He's the Hugh Jackman, right? Not giving up Wolverine until.
Yeah. And you can't picture anybody else being cast as Thor. You just can't. But I would be very interested to see what the next film would be. I just unfortunately don't know. I'm trying to think, like, I don't even have.
I'm sure it's going to include Hercules, right? Based on the stinger at the end.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they should have Hercules. Yeah, well, maybe because didn't Zeus charge Zeus with going out and killing all the gods? No, not killing all the gods, but going after Thor.
Yeah, for what he did.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your fifth movie. Boom.
Boom.
Pencil it in.
It's like he's gonna hunt. Hercules is gonna hunt him down, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of Thor comics. Actually, no.
I don't think, like as we've established before, like before these movies, these were CD list heroes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Speaking of which, so the Marvels apparently, according to tracking, is the worst pre-sale ticket sales in the last almost 5 years for Marvel. It's projected to earn between 50 to 75 million on opening weekend. Now, compared to when Captain Marvel opened in 2018, that was 153.4 million. So,
I guess they didn't count my pre-orders for November 10th, 11th, and 12th because I'm going 3 days in a row. Hey yo, no
eyes,
blasphemy. Yeah.
So when you see that, does it not then make more sense why you're seeing a fifth Thor coming?
Yeah. I haven't seen any trailer for the Marvels. I don't, and if I did, it's maybe because it was played on one of our episodes. Did you play the Marvels? You did? Okay,
I did.
But I don't remember it, so that's almost that's a good thing. Or I wasn't paying attention. But I just, yeah. When is that? November 10th. So it's coming up. That's not this Friday, but next Friday.
And like you wouldn't know, like nothing on TV. Like aside from the stuff that I have to actively seek out for information to discuss here, that's the only place I see something. I haven't seen commercials. I like nothing.
I was asked today, Oliver asked today if we're going to go see it. And I was like, well, shit, it's kind of like tradition that we go and watch it on opening night. I won't have any trouble getting seats, so apparently.
Hey, yo.
So we might do that. I might fall asleep. That might be a good opportunity to take a nap. So maybe we'll go after and I can give you my hot review.
The question comes up is that, like, again, is this just the characters that they're doing here, or is it based on the last few movies that you feel this way?
Yeah, a bit of both.
Like, I had no expectations going to Captain Marvel, and I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this last week or a few episodes ago, but there's something about Brie Larson and how she plays Carol Danvers I just can't buy. I just like, she's trying too hard. And it's like hey, I'm going to kick your ass. You want to fight? You want to do this? Okay? And she's like, I just
wouldn't
trying to be a bit too stoic, and it ends up making her look silly. I haven't seen the TV show for, was it Miss Marvel?
Yep.
And Photon was okay, and in WandaVision, it was fine. I didn't have any problem with her. As a matter of fact,
I thought,
cool. And
I thought Miss Marvel was like, it started off like, oh, this is cute, she's quirky and stuff, but then she got annoying.
Yeah,
it was too much.
Yeah,
it's like I feel like some people feel about Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Like, some people enjoy it and some people find him annoying and whiny as the series progresses with each movie, right? There's like a level of excitement that you have that he has, like especially in Civil War, and like the first half of Homecoming, but then it gets more like, obviously as the story takes it, more depressing.
And that's the thing. Like, Marvel hasn't had a moment like that. Like, the Civil War moment was unbelievable. Well, maybe like you can say Endgame and sure, like when Captain America caught Mjolnir, that's one thing. But like, I'm talking about like a character reveal in a movie. That was 2016 that movie came out, and there hasn't been anything since. Where like, I vividly remember the people in the theater like screaming when they saw him catch that shield.
Well, like, and the other issue too is that because of how big it's gotten, they're mapping it out and saving stuff. I think if they would have, like, written something where we'll have him come in, or we'll have this person come in, and then they decide at that point, we'll do it now.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, they had multiple scripts for Civil War. One that had Pete show up, another one who didn't. And when they signed the dotted line, now he's in the movie.
Yeah. Was one of the versions of Civil War the one that wasn't in that god awful like green screen at the airport? Like, was there one where they're actually like? That's the only thing about that movie. It was a bit jarring.
Yeah, poor Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Literally,
that
her
good.
and Jeremy Renner were the only ones like just standing there. No one else is there.
That's right. Yeah. The one thing I am actually enjoying is Loki season 2. Now I haven't watched the most recent episode, but I've watched the first 3.
Okay.
Have you watched it?
Before we go into the next story that I had, let's discuss Loki. So I am up to date.
Okay.
So then you would know my comment about how I did not care for Victor Timely's portrayal by Jonathan Majors. A little too what the word would be, like quirky,
like stuttering was a bit much. Like, just
like, I don't understand. There's this fascination with in Hollywood where if somebody's a nerd, they have to be quirky and like stutter talk and just be awkward and everything. It's like it's 2023. We know that nerdness or nerdship is not like that.
No.
But just because it's supposed to be set back in like the 20s or 30s, 40s even, that he's like that. Like, I don't just it rubbed me the wrong way. It was too much.
You can even I mean, just gonna say Data because he's just basically Data, but that character, it's the same thing. Like, he's a scientific genius, and he just like plays that, that role like that. That's what I'm looking for. Just basically the stigma of what that character is like. But I'm enjoying the story. And I think it's just because I have hopes that like we'll get some sort of answers as to like what's going on with the multiverse. Like, when you saw all the pruning happening and the from the temporal loom, that's spoilers. But when you see like all that shit going down after the first episode and timelines being, taken away, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. I feel like they're actually doing something now. Whether they execute on that with 6 episodes remains to be seen. But
so there's 2 left.
But I like Morpheus and Loki together. Like, they've got good chemistry. Morbius, sorry, I say Morpheus. Yeah.
Different character, different studio.
Yeah, 100%. But they click on screen together. Like, they bounce off each other pretty good.
It's weird that I still find it weird that it's Owen Wilson in a Marvel project.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's just it's not something you would have expected, but it works.
No, it does. It just, I don't know what it is, but it works. I just, like I said, I need to watch this most recent episode, which I'll probably do maybe, I don't know, later this week. Baseball's on.
Yeah, this one has a bit more reveal on more backstory, but you still don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I also like the first season too. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was indifferent the first time I watched it. Maybe I was expecting more, but the subsequent rewatches, I've enjoyed it more.
Or maybe it's just because Kang is one of my favorite Marvel villains. I'm just, subconsciously buying into it, not realizing that it isn't really that good. But because a variant of his is in the show, that I'm okay with it.
Well, 2 Kang variants have already bitten the dust, so like, how strong is this bad guy supposed to be?
Yeah, what was the thing that you sent me? Like, people that have beaten Kang?
Yeah.
And it was like
Ant-Man. Like Sophie and an actual ant.
Yeah. Like, and he's the toughest and baddest.
He's the toughest.
Bad boy.
Maybe he's the toughest because there's so many of them.
Marvel and that's true. That's true. Yeah, the Victor Timely, that's a great comment. Just to wrap it up, like the just too quirky, and
Yeah.
it just like get your fucking lines out of your mouth and just say the words. God damn it.
I'm curious to find out if it was like a choice by him or like that's how it was written.
Yeah.
Because some people like putting their own spin on it, right? Because he's got to play each one different. So last bit of news I had was apparently David Fincher was in line to direct a Spider-Man movie before Sam Raimi came in.
That would have been fucked up.
Yeah, he actually, from what it sounds like, Sony wasn't interested because he did not want to have an origin story. And they're like, why would you want to eviscerate the origin story? He said, because it's dumb. He says the origin story means a lot of things to a lot of people, but I looked at it and I was like, a red and blue spider, there's a lot of things I can do in my life, and that's just not one of them.
Interesting. So, you know, if
he didn't get into what his story would have entailed.
Oh, that's too bad. That would be awesome.
Like,
the timing just didn't work out, because that, like, when obviously 2001, like, it was all about origins, right? Like, we hadn't seen these types of movies. I think X-Men was the one that came out before Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
But if this were today, or even the last, say, 5 years, then he probably would have made the movie, because we just don't care that much anymore about origin stories. And if we do, it's just a very quick montage, and then that takes up like 7 to 10 minutes of the movie, and then you're on to the actual story.
Yeah. Say what you will about Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk, but having the opening credits as his origin story was perfect.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even Homecoming, you know, like, there was you didn't really get into how he became Spider-Man. You just kind of jumped in and he was Spider-Man.
Yeah. And like you said, X-Men didn't have an origin for anybody. Like, they taught, except for the opening scene with Magneto.
Well, they kind of did. Like, when Wolverine woke up after being knocked out by Sabretooth, and he woke up at the school, Professor X told him about who he is, and you know, what his school does, and School for the Gifted, yada yada yada. And that was like the origin of the X-Men kind of thing, and that was it. But there was still, like, you still had, like, what's that?
It was all exposition.
Yeah. That's too bad. I would really like to know what his story is, though, if he had one.
I'm sure someone's like a serial killer, and maybe had to hunt somebody down, or who knows?
Do you have anything else, or is this the time when I can try and sell you on G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra?
I've seen it, man.
It's so good.
I know the Brendan Fraser cameo, because, you know, Steven Summers directed it, and they're buddies because the Mummy franchise.
Oh, I didn't know that was the reason why.
But like, you don't think they did Cobra Commander dirty in that movie?
Oh, listen, they did a lot of things dirty. You know, like, even Zartan whistling, like, I know that was their way to indicate that this is like who he is, and when you saw spoilers.
Yeah.
But when you saw the president whistling, then you knew it was him. So, like, I get that. But I think the reason why I like it so much is that I went into it, and it even kind of starts off like trying to frame it for the viewer, when, like, you see Hasbro as, like, you know, like, right at the very beginning credits. And so you just you should buy into the fact that this is just an outrageous, fantastical movie that's not in the realm of reality. And if you just go with that, then you can just have a good time. Like, the CGI isn't that great. Like, when the whole Paris scene, when they're in those exosuits running down the streets of Paris, it doesn't look real at all. But you know what? It's friggin' cool. Like, it's just action, beat after beat after beat, and it's silly, you know, but it's whatever. Like, I love it. I wish they had like 5 more of these movies, to be honest.
Well, another thing I didn't like was the fake mouth on Snake Eyes. Like, he doesn't talk.
So why have the lips?
It's like having lips on Optimus Prime. Like, just keep his mouth covered with that moving, like, fucking plate that just goes up and down when he talks. I think they made
that I think they recognized that mistake and they fixed it in the second one. Because if I remember correctly, the second movie didn't have.
He looks.
It's like
he
bat
looks
nipples,
like Snake Eyes should look like.
right? You know, everybody talks about bat nipples. No one talks about snake mouth. Like, honest to God,
That's right.
it's true.
No
right?
one talks about snake mouth.
No one talks about snake mouth. It's only bat nipples. But anyway, like I just watched. We started watching it early this week, so I had recorded it from months and months ago, and I need to free up some space. And yeah, every time it's on, like it's just one of those movies where I just get sucked right in. I buy it. I'm into it. I'm into it.
So you're gonna watch the second one now?
Yeah. Was there only two?
So there's two
three.
G.I. Joes, and then there's a Snake Eyes movie.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. But the second one is with like Bruce Willis
like,
and The Rock and like Heavy Duty and like that.
I think the Snake Eyes was kind of like a soft reboot that didn't go anywhere. So
I need to watch it. I'm surprised I haven't watched it yet, but I need to watch it.
So you've never seen whatever the hell the second one's called?
I have seen it.
Oh, okay.
It's just been a while. It's been a minute. Wow. Yeah. That was Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis kicked ass in that movie. The scene when he was in this kitchen and he opened up, like he had all these weapons, like, you know, in his Kentucky home with a white picket fence, pressed a button, and next thing you know, every weapon known to man came out from the cupboards. It was awesome.
When he gave a fuck about the project he was in, he gave it.
Nailed it. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is surprising given the material for.
So anyway,
G.I. Joe.
I'm team G.I. Joe.
What's one called?
I don't know. G.I. Joe.
Or the entrance. G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe 2 the streets. Retaliation.
Retaliation. So I know that there was Roadblock that was in that.
Roadblock. Jay,
but Jay was in the first. No, that was Scarlet.
Jinx, Firefly,
and then the only thing I didn't like about the first one is, what's the guy's name? The main Duke. What's the guy's name in real life?
Oh, Channing.
No. The older guy, like his.
Oh,
fuck! What's his name? I'm having a.
Hold on. Let me get back up.
He's in Inner Space with Martin Short. What's the guy's name? Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. That's right.
So whenever he would stand, he would have his hands on his hips and his jacket was open, and that's kind of how he would stand. It just like. I don't know why that part. Everything else was cool, but apparently that part got to me and annoyed me. But
oh yeah, I'm seeing it here.
Yeah,
the zipper that's only done to like the very bottom.
Yeah, then he just got taken out so easily by Storm Shadow in the movie.
Wow, his hands are on his hips.
Well, everybody is the best of the best from every country except for him. He was like the scrub leftover from the States anyway.
And how Brendan Fraser didn't save them all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's that time.
It's Halloween. We got to do a Florida Man.
Let's do it.
Florida man, does whatever the fuck he can. Makes headlines every time. Florida's paradigm. Look out! Here comes Florida man.
As you know, Florida Man is brought to you by the state of Florida, where education clearly goes to die.
Takes a back seat.
Takes a back seat to meth or whatever. Now,
Scientology and all the good stuff.
I'll say that this is Halloween theme in the sense that it has to do with people in costume. Doesn't necessarily mean all this took place on Halloween. Okay. So I'll get the turn the loop off, and we'll have your for right, and of course, when you're wrong. Number 1, or our first entry into tonight's Florida Man. Man wearing breathalyzer costume arrested for DUI. I do believe we have a picture of said costume. And he's clearly on brain damage level.
Amazing.
I like the black bar covering the face because you don't want to identify him.
Well, there is a clear giveaway that makes me say that this is not in Florida, and I'm going to go that it happened in Massachusetts somewhere, based off of the hat that he's wearing.
So no Florida.
No Florida.
That is indeed correct. However, it was a 19-year-old Nebraska native. Was arrested for drunk driving while wearing one of those cheeky blow hair breathalyzer machine costumes.
Amazing. Amazing.
He was brought up on DUI and underage alcohol possession charges while wearing the less than tasteful Halloween costume. So, two for DUI and underage. When will they learn?
Honest to God, and like getting arrested in the worst place in the States to get arrested for those types of things. Like, honestly, Nebraska.
Number 2, second up, meth carrying gorilla resists arrest. Meth
That's it?
carrying gorilla resists arrest. Oh, yeah. That's all you're getting. Dig deep. Dig deep, McCoy.
I'm going to say Florida because it's meth.
Florida meth, they go hand in hand.
That's right.
Oh, no. Sorry. Police in Sulphur, Louisiana received a call about a suspicious-looking man in dark clothing wandering in and out of yards. Officers were initially searching for a man in black pants and a black jacket. They soon located the prowler. However, found that he was actually wearing a gorilla costume. Police told the man to stop, but he fled into the front door of a house instead. Officers found the back door open and assumed the perpetrator had exited. They searched the area but came out with nothing. After determining that the man had never left the house, Floriders checked every room. They found the gorilla hiding under a mattress. This time, the ape-suited interloper, later identified as Jeremy Moran, was more compliant. However, when they were cuffing him, he fought back, freeing himself, not only with one wrist cuffed, but he ultimately subdued and was taken to city jail. So he put up a fight. That's meth for you.
But was the gorilla costume as on point as Jim Belushi's in Trading Places?
I don't know, that's a tough one, Top.
That's a tough one.
You think if those guys were sober in that scene, they would have realized it was a costume? Or no, because it's the 80s and people are...
Everyone is there on mollies. Probably... Why do people do stupid shit in these states that like you go to jail forever if you like smoke a joint the wrong way?
Like if they're pot committed at one point.
My God.
Man in diaper. Man in diapers took it too far on Halloween. That's all you're getting. Man in diaper.
Oh, that's not enough to go on. I'm gonna say Florida.
A 47-year-old Floridian allegedly wearing a diaper and shouting profanities at people while he trick-or-treated Sunday night, or wherever this was, in West Ocean City, was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct. State police stated that the Sarasota, Florida native was drunk and trying to get people to give him candy on Halloween. Police directed cars of the trick-or-treating traffic and alerted... he's going with his name. It's Joseph Devana, who witnesses said was cursing at adults and children and arrested him, charging him with disorderly conduct, according to the Courier Post.
As you
just
would
drunk
on the
in the street,
boardwalk.
give me candy and a diaper.
Yeah. And the thing is that the diaper probably wasn't part of his Halloween costume. It's probably just his everyday attire. I'll just turn this inside out and use it again.
There we go.
Dear God.
He's set for 2 days.
Right, of course.
And next up, man dressed as Fred Flintstone pulled over for driving footmobile. Man dressed as Fred Flintstone pulled over for driving footmobile. So he fashioned a car to be just like the Flintstones car and got pulled over.
This is like a soapbox race gone wrong or something like that. I'm going to say Florida. I'm going to go again with Florida.
This was indeed in Florida. A Florida man just dressed as Fred Flintstone was pulled over and given a citation by law enforcement officers just days after Halloween. A Pasco County Sheriff deputy pulled over the barefooted man that appeared to be driving a smart car decked out as a footmobile from the classic cartoon series The Flintstones. Don Schwartz was driving around Pasco County area when deputies said he was speeding and becoming unruly and had to be detained. But he was issued a notice to appear and finally released. I don't know how you're speeding with just your feet.
It's like, what was it in Black Sheep? Chris Farley. Do you know how fast you're going? It's got, whatever. You're going 11 miles an hour.
Most people pull over to the side of the road.
That's right.
Stops in the middle. And finally, drunken Care Bear brawls with homeowner, realizes he's in the wrong town.
Yes, I've heard this before.
It was unruly Care Bears.
That was on the Red Band trailer of Care Bears, wasn't it? I'm going to say not Florida.
That is correct.
Roll.
This was out of Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa homeowner was cleaning up after hosting a Halloween party. In his driveway, the homeowner found a Care Bear passed out in his truck. Cody Schaefer, 30, was snoozing away in a Grumpy Bear costume. So right there, you should know he's in a bad mood. He's Grumpy Bear. And Grumpy Bear lived up to his name. Once the homeowner woke him up, a physical altercation ensued, forcing the homeowner to retreat into his house. The homeowner locked his door, but the apparently enraged Schaefer managed to kick it open, breaking the lock. At this point, the uncharacteristically violent Care Bear was tackled and held down by the homeowner and a friend. They were able to keep Schaefer on the floor until police showed up, though both sustained minor injuries. Schaefer was found to be rather drunk, blowing a .179, more than twice the legal limit for driving. In his defense, he claimed that that one of his drinks had been spiked with drugs, and also apparently thought he was in Burlington, Iowa, which is in a different part of the state altogether. He was charged with first-degree burglary and second-degree robbery. Spiked with drugs.
It was spiked with something. And I tried to do the Care Bear stare, and fights ensued.
So you had like 4 for 1 there.
That's pretty good.
Right there, that's like
that might be an
80%.
Might be an all-time best.
I think so. And that was Florida.
Florida man, friendly neighborhood Florida man. Wealth and fame is one goal. The police, he's ignored. To him, life is a GTA game. Wherever you find reptilians, you'll find Florida man.
Good old Florida.
Blames Caterpillar. Rex liquor store blames Caterpillar. That's hilarious.
That's right. I mean, it's always that theme by Mechanical Shark. Find that on YouTube.
It's great. So is that it?
That's all I got, my friend.
A wrap for Shocktober. Do you want to, before we do the outro, do you want to give a little heads up on what's happening for November, or is that still in the works?
No. Yeah. So November, obviously, for those who are familiar with what happens around the globe this time of year, Movember. So we will be representing that. I don't know if you're partaking or not, but our very own Vishal Chef, obviously, he for those who follow the show for the many years knows that he does Movember. He does donations. He pushes for that, so he'll be growing his mow, and he said he'll stop by and give us progress, and we'll help him raise some money.
And then maybe do a couple of movie reviews in there.
That's right. And we have our movies.
Yeah, movies. We'll do a couple of themes. We'll keep it. And the next thing you know, after that, it's December, and the year's almost over. My God, man.
We're going to be talking holiday movies.
My favorite time of year. That's all for this week's episode of Open Collar. Thanks for joining us for another round of discussion and an analysis on all things movie, TV, and comic books, and things that scared us to our core as kids. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and leave a rating and review. For our audio listeners, hit that like button and also leave a rating and review. Give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook using @OpenCollarPod or searching @OpenCollarPod. Are we on the threads too, I believe? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All the social medias that are out there. As always, we appreciate your support and can't wait to bring you in even more great content next week. I'll get used to this eventually. Until then, this is Steve and Cory signing off. Keep it geeky, and we'll see you in the next episode of Open Collar.
It's funny. I don't have the voice, but you can't talk.
Just fumble my words. It's Sunday night or Tuesday afternoon.
All right. That's it. That's us. Now, your feel-good Feldman for the evening.
Do you understand what happens if you get caught driving without a license? They make you wait 2 years before you can take the test again. That's 24 months. That's an awful lot of bus rides.
Relax, Dino. Look, I didn't get caught. And you know what? You would have done the exact same thing that I did. Now, did you guys come over here to ask me some questions, or what? All right. Here's one. How can you identify a blind pedestrian to whom you must yield the right of way?
This is a complete waste of time. I mean, it's not like you just moved here from Bedrock or something. You've been a passenger in a car all your life. And what is this shit? Natalie! Hey, Natalie! I was wondering, if you're driving 55 miles per hour and you collide with a runaway train, would it make any improvement on your face? Good luck on your exam tomorrow, Einstein.